Hey, beautiful people. Let me get the chat going. Give me a second. Hey, Barry, thanks for coming in. Gang. No, so let me stop. Acting stupid. All right. Yeah, today we're going to talk about WWDC. I couldn't put in the title. I couldn't change my thumbnail. I was running all over the place, but it's fine. I'm here. Thanks for being part of the Lurk Squad. Um, Ricardo Soto, what's up? Um, Subscribe, like, and do those things. I never see you on the actual live streams. But thank you for coming in, brother. We're going to talk about Apple event keynote, about WWDC. I watched a little bit. I was running around, and I'll explain that when I get into my intro and everything. Thanks for coming in, brother. Ricardo Soto, thanks for being part of the squad. The family, you're welcome. Everybody welcome him. We're waiting for more people to come in. Before I get started, let me do one more thing quick. Bear with me. Show my banner, that's my colors, and go back to the. Yep, take this off. So yeah, oh, I got something in my eyes. Oh, thank you, my brother. Ole, ¿qué pasa, mi amigo? Great Spanish. So let me get started. So this is how it goes. We get this out of the way. So let me do my intro. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Repeat again. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome. This is Tech for Your Niece, and today we're gonna have a good old time and talk about the WWDC conference from Apple. It's a developer conference, and today they talk about numerous features and stuff like that. Sorry that I couldn't get any screenshot to show, but I'll talk and skim over it the best of my ability because I didn't watch the whole thing. I just did a couple of recaps, and I catch a lot of it, but I was trying. Bear with me, trying to get water. Got to stay dehydrated. Now put the water over here. Make sure I don't drop nothing. Not trying to, you know. So yeah. So we have 5 people. Thanks everybody for coming in. And the most thing that intrigued me, it was the iPad software part of it because I check and do research before coming over here, and I watch it again and again. We got full support for full external monitor, a peripheral, and that peripheral is awesome. But when I saw that, I was like, yes, that's what I wanted it. Now, if I plug in it, I get the full benefit, and I mean, yes, it's about time, but it is what it is. I mean, that's what I was saying. So yeah, so yeah, I mean, it was a cool event. I watched the whole event here and there, dose off too because I've been doing so many things. Been up since 5, not really 6:30 in the morning, but I'm still hanging in there. Yeah, but I mean, I liked so far the event was, they did a lot of stuff actually with the actual iOS 16. Let's start with that. Hey, Kia, thanks for coming in, sister. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about it. What I like, the enhancement they did with the lock screen is they put more customization on the lock screen. Now you could change the timing and add different fonts. They got different. You could put your own picture. They got, they use your pictures, but also on that part of the lock screen, they got a lot of customization. For example, you could put your weather, your it's like a three widgets, and then those widgets show the weather or whatever you want to put. Um, Also, I was just like, they're more like interactive widgets on the home screen. I wouldn't mind seeing the weather on the home screen when I glance at the phone. I mean, and then they got some other widgets in the bottom too. So there's a lot of customization with the lock screen that I like. I mean, I was like, yes. Let me go over here and check how many people coming in. Hey, holla at your boy, Lachon. What's up, my brother? What's crack-a-lacking? But yeah, anyways, get back to the subject. It was so many features that are welcome. Lay or not, I don't care who have them first. I'm not gonna hear that. We got them now. We live in the now. Excuse the sirens. I live next to it. A fire station, a police station, and a hospital, all within 4 to 6 blocks. So bear with me. Oh, and a church too. So in case you hear that the church ringing or stuff like that. So yeah, the customization, the last screen in the integration. Oh, and you got animations on the last screen if it's thundering and stuff like that. Whoo wee! That's just yes. Yep. Saying hi to Charles. And yes, I mean, I was loving everything. I was like, yes, yes, bring it on. And woof, talking about software, they got a lot of customization there, and they got oh, you could put focus. If you put focus, your lock screen change because focus give you different backgrounds. You put a focus for work, put a focus for student. Oh man, brother, stuff is it's just lit for real. I mean, let me talk. Let me stop being talking ghetto, but talk regular English. Nah, stuff is good. I mean, I was impressed. And when I started with the iPad, since we're talking about software, oof, I was like, yes, yes, we got full support. You could be drawing, and then you can look up and look at it in a bigger canvas, and you can fix your stuff. Woof. I mean, what I saw with the iPad software, I was intrigued. I was intrigued. Intrigued. You know, I don't recall everything, don't remember everything, but it was. It was. I was just blown away. I mean, I can say it, and and yeah, I'm gonna say I'm not gonna commit. I'm not gonna commit. It depends how my pocket is are. I want to clarify that before people going out say I said this thing and trying to give me receive. I'm looking at my phone for a minute. Just bear with me, folks. Time to say goodbye to this if the pockets are right. 14. Phone 14 Pro Max, whatever. I'm gonna get the max of the max. If I got the cash, I'm getting it. If I got to think about it at that time, I'm not committing to not saying nothing. So I'm just saying that's what I'm leaning towards. Hey, Big John Review, thanks for coming in. Let me see who else here. Magic Take a Review. Safian. Yeah, 6 hours remaining into. Let me read this. Make sure. 6 hours into iOS 16 is downloaded to my iPro 12. Wow, 6 hours? Well, anyway, it says new feature, so it's big. Max of the max. Yep. If I get it, I'm gonna just go off and get one. It'd be like another 5 years to get another phone. I'm fine with phones, 6 minutes for my 13 Pro Max. Yep. So y'all put let me go back here. So I'm gonna check. I think I'm missing somebody that I'm gonna say hi. I don't want to miss nobody. Oh, Elvira, thanks for coming in. Let me look at the camera. And yes, if anything that anything that you heard about it that you want to discuss, put it there, and I'll read and answer to my best ability. But I'm very, 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 very happy with what I saw. And the thing, like I said, my iPad Pro going to full monitor support, not a third party like I had. I'm shift screen and full native. I'm sorry for the developer. Excellent job on that. But I mean, you don't need that right now. So that's the thing that I'm happy. So didn't disappoint the software part of it and stuff like that. Oh, we got a new actual M2 iPad Air. Yeah, not iPad Air, MacBook Air. Oof, and they got different colors. They got the black one. Oof. I know it's gonna get probably dirty quick, but and grimy, depending on the coating they use. But the MacBook Air, it got the notch, but I don't care. It looks sexy and it's different. Oof. I'm just saying. I don't know. I'm just saying. Apple just did a good job. So even though I was not, I was like, what's it called? Federici, oh my God. When he did that shit with the hair, I was like, he trying to be Rico Suave. Oh my God, he went like that. And I was like, pepper hair. I was like, dude gotta be kidding me for real. Trying to be a Baywatch move. Oh, hell no. Yeah, that's one of the things that I was cracking up. I was capping on that. I'm sorry. Lulu, I'm a bit to calm down. Yeah, no, but seriously, yeah, I'm excited. Oh, Apple hit me up with a copy strike and remove it. They claim, but it trimmed. Oh yeah, because yeah, if you do like a trim and stuff like that, and you react to it, but not show the actual thing, all of it, just react and have it like that. Yeah, Apple always striking people for years. That's nothing new. That's been going on for years, my brother. I mean, that's why I just wait and talk about after the fact. And if I have a little clips, they won't do nothing. But if you show certain percentage, then they'll come with a strike. Also, let me bear with me. Yeah, I want to switch something here. Switching the ticker. Donations are welcome, but not mandatory. But it's fine. Let me go back to the chat. So yeah, it was crazy, you know. Oh yeah, nah, because now I could use the my iPad with a bigger canvas, and my niece is a beast at drawing. I mean, Sharky knows a few people. She I don't know. She was born with a talent. She could draw anything, people, anything you give it to her. So therefore, when she come for vacation, she could hook it up. She's the one that did my mascot for my channel that I'm gonna start using and start throwing out there and different thingies. But let me tell you, it was an amazing experience. And yeah, I'm not taking away nothing from Android. I love Android too. It just what I wanted it, I got a support for the bigger screen and bigger canvas when you hook up the iPad. I mean, you could get so much out of it because for drawing purposes, for Illustrator and stuff like that. I mean, you don't need to have the black bar and stuff like that. So let me. So yeah, put the word invite and I invite you. If I didn't see your invite, just write it over and over until it catch my eyes. Because last time I missed somebody and I apologize to that person. It was not intended. If you are on my panel and you talk and you see the word invite, just let me know. Just don't let it go by because that's not fair to the person. This is a welcome place and open place for everybody. So if y'all want to come in and talk about the thing, go ahead. The invitation is there. Put the word invite. Let me know. But yeah, so I was happy and I like the MacBook Air. Look nice. So let me read this coming from Stephen. So let me see. 91 text says you can use your iPhone as a way. Oh yeah, I forgot. The webcam ability is also with another company. I forgot what company they're making accessories, and you could put it, and it could be a webcam. Yep, I forgot. That's one thing that I saw because I saw the whole thing, but I was so sleepy I was going in and out. After the fact that I came late home, I still watched it. Most of it because I was scrubbing through it. But yeah, you could use your phone as a webcam, the ability as a webcam. And also, I believe that it's with other companies also. It's just not with the native Apple displays they have. No, so thanks for reminding me that, Sephian. But that's a good key point. Yep. So anybody want to get invited, put the word invite and I'll invite you. So, So yeah, so I was like, yep. So your phone could convert to a webcam. Also, you got support to start projects with the actual FaceTime, and people could be doing in real time projects back and forth, and you could see and you could own on the area that people are fixing, and then you could agree disagree because you're the administrator. That was just hot, bro. Let me read this comment. I'm thinking about it. I want to. I'm just waiting to see which cash flow I have because I've been saving money already. But the thing is, Should I get the phone? Because honestly, I messed up my phone. My speaker, when I talk, I can't hear people. I don't know if it got water damage or something because I don't know. I spilled water one time by mistake. It's not waterproof. It's water resistant, but it was an ample amount of water. So my speaker, I could barely hear people when I talk regular like this. And that's the only thing. Other than that, the phone is flawless. I could tell no scratches and nothing. I take care of my stuff, But that's the only thing he's missing. So if either I fix that for cheap money because I got connection, or either I go and get the 14. So it depends how is my pockets, to tell you the truth. So anybody want to get invited, put the word invited. So yeah, it's time to upgrade the XR very, 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 very old phone. I mean, oh, right here. Oops, there's my Cash App. Wink, wink, wink. I didn't throw that out there. It said, oh, phone. There's my Cash App. I'm just messing with you. But yeah, donations are welcome. It'll go towards the phone. So no, yeah, but seriously, everything that I saw, it was good. Just it was cringy when Federici was trying to be doing like a Playboy style magazine type of GQ stuff. I was like, nah, that shit ain't working. I need a new MacBook PC over a new phone. Kids Top got me on phones. Oh, yep. So nah, but for real, donations are there. They're welcome. But let me start with that. So yeah, so it's cool everything they show, and they got a lot of things that I was just happy with it. We go back over here for people. So yeah, everything went cool and I liked it. And anybody want to get invited? I mean, put the word invite, I'll invite you. Yeah, I just been working on a lot of graphics, on graphics, canvas, and everything. Get that MacBook, then stuff. Yeah, I don't know really what I'm doing, but I'm just, because I got more than 50%. I just got to think, I'm just trying to, you know, weigh the options because it's not go spend all that cash and be like, oops, I'm broke. No, you got to, adulting. I don't live with my parents, so. But anyway, enough of that. But yeah, seriously, I'm happy and elated with everything the presentations and everything in the software. People are doing beta softwares and everything starting right now. And the software and the refinements they did on every aspect, it was good. So, that's intriguing. That the MacBook Air, but what's it called? Not black because I got the black one, but I like the space gray. Stealthy and like that and sexy. So let me go over here. I want a MacBook, but I don't know. I want to be fully in the wall garden. I mean, I understand, Sephian, you coming back up, but really, not really, because I mean, it's up to you. But the MacBooks are good. My friend got one. He got the M14, and that thing is, whoo, everything he throw at it is just non-stop. It's going. So it's a very powerful, M1 beast. So that's one thing. I mean, I'm not trapped to the wall garden. I'm just on Apple ecosystem because it's working right now. I know you said you don't know, but in reality, I mean, I'm doing whatever works on the time. If one of these days I feel like Apple is not giving me what I want, I'll jump ship. It's just not. It's a matter of getting what it works at the time being, and the time being, Apple is working, so I'm cool with it. You know, it is what it is. But anyway, the invitation is there if you want to get invited, put the word invite and stuff like that. So seriously, shackles, No, 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 no. Nobody got nobody's shackles. I mean, it's a good strategy because you know continuity and everything workflow and everything work fine and seamless. And yes, I mean, if you're a company, what the purpose of being a company? Serve your audience, bring value. So I mean, some of them do it better than others, but it is what it is. I'm just saying how it is. You know, there's no if or buts. That's what I tell people. People don't seem to understand that. I might have a guess. I'm not sure if that person is coming, but you know, yeah, we shall see. So far from the event and everything they show, I'm liking it so far stuff. So let me read this. I like to come and go as I please. Like Dinero says, gotta be able to walk away in 15 seconds flat, and you could do that because look, you may have Apple product, but you're not confined because the software is not confining you. Like you could have a Chrome installed in there and stuff like that. So they just, I mean, I don't, see. I see what they're doing in strategy marketing, and I respect that. People be like, why are you for the company? It's not that I'm for the company. It's if I'm a business, and I'm gonna help my customers to get the best out of the best. By doing that, it's gonna be get a return investment because I care for the customer. I'm giving what they want. So therefore, there is the integrity. People are like, oh, let's go back because it's working, and stuff like that. And let me preface this: nothing is perfect, and that's common sense. We know that, but I just want to clarify that. Hey, hi, Bonnie. Thanks for coming in. Okay, the link you sent me isn't working. I'll send it again, Michael Pepper. Give me a second. That's strange. I think I know what link I did. I gave you the wrong link, probably. I'll do it again. That's weird. Well, anyways, there goes the link. So yeah, I hope this link works and it's gonna be acting up. Let me fix myself. But yeah, and Apple is heading in the right direction. Every company's heading in the right direction because let's just aside, oh, jokes are kidding. Even in mid-range high, you get a lot for your bang for your buck. Be grateful that we live in a good time and technology is advanced and stuff like that, and it's giving ease for a better tomorrow in our life. So therefore, I'm grateful for that. Yeah. Oh, congrats, brother! Just keep putting the work, and I'm gonna give you advice. Every video, try to improve 1% of everything. The video, compare it to the new video, be like, okay, it got to be better than my new video. So comparisons are welcome too. So, yeah, excuse me. So yeah, so that's what I tell people. But getting back to the subject, so far I'm happy, especially what Apple is bringing. And my iPad, I could now they get a full monitor and stuff like that. Say I'm traveling, that's a hotel, a TV, and then I could probably plug in it. And because I mean nowadays everything almost USB-C. So I plug it in with that cable, I get the full capability of the full screen. Oof, that's a game changer. Bring like a little portable. How do you have to bring a portable keyboard? Because I got the Magic Keyboard, so therefore I don't have to bring extra peripherals. Just the mouse, and that's it, and I'll be good to go. That's just amazing, and I could do work outside clientele and stuff like that, and that's what I like. That's just the bomb. You know what I'm saying? Okay, let me know if you're ready. Put your hands like that. So make sure that I fix my volume before I bring them up. So I'm bringing Michael Pepper right now. Okay, what happened? See, acting up.
Howdy.
There you are. Hey, howdy.
Let me
Nice.
make sure my audio and everything's all good. I
Yeah, you
think I
sound good. You sound.
have everything through the right stuff. Good.
Yeah, you
Cool.
sound crispy.
Check this out.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay. Show me what you're gonna show me.
You
Oh,
see
okay. I
it?
got it. Oh, the
Portrait
light.
mode,
Oh,
studio
yeah.
lighting, and then
Wow.
I can also do center stage, so it kind of follows you around, but you lose a little quality when you do that, of course, because then it's cropping in. But
Yes, you see.
um, the portrait
Is
mode's
that
pretty. I mean, it's got not getting my headband right, but it will learn over time, and it's probably as good
mhm.
as you're gonna get with most of those modes. But I just leave it at this.
Is that the computer or the tablet?
That's my phone.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Wow.
I'm
So
using the new betas, and that's the new ability to use your iPhone as a webcam. It's
correct.
native now, so
Yeah,
I
you
love
have to
it.
use email and all that.
It doesn't seem to be any latency with it, as far as like from what I can tell from when I'm talking to seeing my mouth move. I mean, people in the chat let me know if there's any, but like
Mhm.
Epoch Cam and some of those seem to have latency, and this is 1080p
Correct.
30, so it's not like you're gonna get 4K 60 out of it. But that could just be a limitation of um, Melon app. Like I haven't tried it in like OBS or anything that allows more
Mhm.
than 4K or allows more than 1080p. So it's pretty
But it's
nice.
good, my brother. I like it. See, we got a live demo. And let me introduce you to this Michael Pepper TikTok. Everybody know him. In case you don't know this person, subscribe. He got wonderful, wonderful content, and he make you think with his content. Provoking for a good way. So the floor is yours. Go ahead. What you want to add?
All I wanted to say, I thought it was my camera was messing up. I was like, why is it not letting me in? It just kept saying
That was
joining,
me.
and it was your thing. So I was ready like 25 minutes ago, but I thought it was my computer acting up, and it turns out it was just the thing, and I was like, I'm gonna send him a message so he knows. My bad.
Yeah, you know what happened? When I enter, I didn't start the actual stream. I didn't went to the studio, so I gave you that link. So it was not in the studio. When I went to the studio, and when you told me I'm in the studio, I'm already live, so I gave you the right links. So that was my mistake. So
Yeah, I noticed like 'cause you schedule your streams, right?
yes, always.
Hold up, MPT, that's through a phone, iPhone. Yes, Septian, that is through my iPhone using iOS 16's new and Mac OS's new ability. What do they call it? A handover camera or whatever it's called? Continuity camera, whatever they called it. I can't remember what the term that they used, where you can use an iPhone as a webcam. You could sort of do it before, like through QuickTime, and then you'd have to do like a screen grab of QuickTime to do it, but like FaceTime wouldn't let you use third-party cameras before, not
Hmm.
easily. So this is like a nice way to do it. Like you sort of could get around it by doing FaceTime and then like sharing your screen if you were on your computer and having it be a different camera. But let's see, one more thing I want to show you here, y'all here to try out. Um, that's kind of interesting. If it will let me, I don't know if it will let me do it though.
It's
Oh
like
no,
it's too late.
it won't let me do it in this, but I'm gonna test it out. I'm hoping that they'll add it into the. It must be something that needs to be added to the website. But there's a thing called Desk View, where will show it uses two cameras on your iPhone at the same time. So it uses the normal, and then it uses the ultra wide to capture like what's down here, so that you can have basically a desktop top down view with one camera, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, Apple's bringing the heat for real. That's good for a content creator, an aspect of that. Oh, and you saw what I'm raving about. That I'm happy. External full monitor for the iPad.
The
Oh, they did it.
only the only thing I'm bummed about. Oh, one more thing. I didn't even intentionally do that. Is
Oh,
that I have a brand new iPad Mini that's not that old, but it doesn't
Mhm.
support most of the features. Like the lock screen stuff, they only brought onto the iPhone. The extended desktop, like extending it to your monitor, they didn't even like do like, oh, we won't do it as a second, but we'll mirror your original.
Let me see.
You'll.
Go ahead.
They didn't do any of like the aspect ratio fixing stuff, and it's like if I have an iPad Mini, I would actually value the most being able to connect that up to a big monitor and be able to do some of the stuff that they were talking about. Now, what I will say to people is people that are using the betas right now and noticing like, oh, it's you can't really adjust the size of the apps much more than you could do previously, and like there isn't much changed other than like kind of doing split screens, slide over, and then the weird is we're in beta, so it won't be till later that you'll be able to kind of do the custom window sizes and move them around and get more out of
Yeah.
it then. But I bet you anybody who sold like their iPads, like they had the M1 models and sold them for cheap because they were switching to something else or traded it in because they decided they were um, unless they got a good trade in for it or were within the return, might kind of regret that a little bit because I don't know. I just feel like some of the stuff that they
Thank
brought
you,
in was,
Sharky.
to me, there's some crazy stuff that people they kind of glanced over. I mean, there's literally hundreds of features that
Hmm.
they didn't really touch on. Like some of the password, like they mentioned Matter, and to
Yep.
me and to those who really know what that means, is the idea that there's a unified basically culmination of companies working together so that you don't have to have HomeKit supported stuff. And people are like, well, Apple's all about money and they want you to pay to have like MFI, made for iPhone certified or
Hmm.
like use certain protocols and pay for certain hardware in there. And the interesting thing to me is they brought
Gigi.
this and nobody I don't think anybody really mentioned it much. And
Yeah,
it's
let me
exciting
give
to
you.
me the idea that I have like a cheap camera that I use as like a baby cam in my son's room, and then there's also one behind me that
Oh
monitors the
yeah,
rest of our apartment. And the idea that that company, all they have to do is issue an update for the API.
correct. Let me salute Gigi quick with this. Gotta salute the ladies. You know what I mean, brother? Yeah. Go. Yeah. Go ahead.
I just saw LaShawn's comment, and I'm like, he is naughty.
Oh.
But some of the things to me I think are more exciting are some of the privacy stuff and some of the
Hmm.
features like you share stuff with people, right? And like the new iCloud sharing where you can
Oh yes, I
share
like
your
that.
album stuff. But
Hmm.
then let's say somebody shared all this shared passwords and you're sharing your location so that like your loved one, your significant other or whatever, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, whatever, can kind of know where you're at. But then if you break up, you can go in and
Yes. Go. Hmm.
with like one click disconnect everything that you've shared with that person. So no
Video.
longer is the
Hmm.
location shared and passwords and all that. But the next level of that is with your own stuff too. So you can basically go on your phone and just be like disconnect every other device from the account. So that way if you sell a bunch of stuff, or I guess if you got robbed,
Oh yeah,
you could
that's
just
true.
go on your phone and just hit and all of your accounts would be signed out on the other stuff, which is kind of awesome. And then some of the tracking, the exercise stuff is
Hmm.
insane to me how they're using machine learning and AI and studying the way the human arm moves to be able to know how your foot's moving and the pace at which it hits the ground. And there's some amazing stuff to me that I just feel
Oh
like,
yeah. Can I add something else that they do productivity for? Let me see for working in groups. I like that too because you could start a project and you could. It's good for content creation. If you're part of my team and I'm paying you, and we could do work in live and fix stuff and be like, okay, we could go back and forth and give you're the admin and then the second person helping you. All those stuff are beneficial. So I like that part of that also too. And privacy is very important and safety. Go ahead.
The freeform thing, which got me, because isn't freeform the actually ABC's the channel of ABC, what it used to be ABC Family? Isn't that freeform? So I wonder how they're using that without paying for the
Yeah,
rights to it, unless nobody owns it,
true.
um, or it's owned in different contexts. But um, I thought what was interesting was that they announced the 13-inch MacBook Pro, because I was for sure that that size was just going to go away, and that we were going to see an Air and the Pro was just going to. And what's kind of interesting to me too is the M2 model got a price bump. So, but the M2 MacBook Pro stayed the same price, but the Air went up $200. So now from the Air to the Pro is $100 price difference, which
Correct.
I feel like in a way it's like, yeah, they bumped up the price of the Air, but I think they did that as like a psychological thing, because now instead of being like a two or $300 price difference from the Air to the Pro, and you're like, well, all I'm getting is an extra cord and like fans or whatever. It's $100 price difference, and you're getting the fan, you're getting some of the things that the advantage of the Pro, but you're not paying $300 difference just for like basically a fan and maybe one
Yeah.
extra core on the GPU. And I think that one of the things I noticed
What
is
it
that
was that thing. I'm sorry to interrupt you. That thing it was 8 cores and now it's 10 cores, something like that.
they
Go ahead.
they didn't do, because remember with the M1 MacBook Air, it was the 8 core CPU, 7 core GPU, and then on the Pro it started with full 8 and
Right.
8.
Hmm.
Well, with the M2 models, it seems like they're not doing any cut down. They're not doing like a, we're going to give you one with the graphics core disabled. They seem to be more efficient. And so I think that these M2s are almost, so they're they're like a half step between the M1 and like the M1 Pro models if you look at
Correct.
it.
That
But
makes
they're
me
using,
realize.
but they're using because they're still using the same architecture. They're using the same architecture as my iPhone's using. It's the A15. I know Renee Ritchie talked about it a bit, but I don't know. To
Mhm.
me, some of the stuff was interesting that they. So Apple likes to, if you look at their marketing, they like to do what's called a or advertise, announcements and things like that. They like to do what's called a sandwich. So if you notice when they came in and they kind of showed off some of the new iOS 16 features and like the lock
Mhm.
screen and like the kind of, I guess, I like to say like it's like this. So if one's the most exciting and then you have two and three on their way down, they like to come in and do a 2-3-1. So what they'll do is they'll come in with like the second most exciting thing to people, which is still sort of up there, which was like the
Mhm.
iOS stuff, right? And the new share and like share play and iMessage, being able to edit and delete and unsend messages, being able to like mark messages as unread for later, some of that stuff that they brought in, and like the new lock screen stuff, which is really cool. Um, which and Face ID now works on at least on the newer iPhones in landscape orientation, which is kind of
Oh
nice.
wow,
So like
cool.
if you have it in your car, I think
Mhm.
the more significant is if you have it in a car mount and you're going down the road and like a message comes through and you need to swipe it away, or a call comes in and you need to swipe it out of the way because you're using maps but your screen locked up or whatever, you can still or you need to get into something real quick, you can swipe it and you're not having to try to rotate it into place or like turn your head or anything. And
Oh yeah, but you know what
um
was cringy? Federici. He was trying to be like a Baywatch when he did the hair like that. Oh my god, I was cringy with his pepper hair. I was like, dude, cut it out. That was the worst thing. I'm like, jeez. I was like, what he trying to do? Yeah, that shit was funny. I was laughing when I rewatched it and I skip over it because I had to set up everything, and when I text you, oh my god, I was just dying. I couldn't breathe. I was like, seriously, at that age, he's trying to do all that. But go ahead.
I'm I'm not sure how I feel about Stage Manager, the whole new like multitasking look that's on Mac OS and iPad OS. I'm not sure how I feel about that because I don't feel like it makes it any faster necessarily. I mean, it's kind of like having a second area for instead of your stuff minimizing to the dock and then you having to go through it, it like puts it
Mhm.
off to the side. So it's kind of like instead of it like having your like a recent section that's separate from your dock. And it's kind of neat and like I like that it centralizes one app. So if you have an app full screen and then
Mhm.
you open another, it kind of pushes it to the side automatically and then
Correct.
brings it into place. I like that, and then you can split things. But I'm not really sure. I think for iPad it's cool, and I think that like off the bat, the idea of like I can have you could technically split so you can do the way that they're floating apps over each other, or
Mhm.
you could split screen two apps on the iPad and then like two on your monitor if you wanted and technically have four open at the same time.
Yeah, and that's good
Some of the
if
back
you're working like in
the
a project, if you're a student, stuff like that. Oh, hospital, go ahead.
and some of the APIs that I think people glanced over is background upload, which they talked about in gaming, but will also be able to be used for other things. So potentially like Google Photos no longer pausing when you go into another app, if they as long as they activate it. So also you edit in LumaFusion, you go to upload, you'll be able to go out of that app to something else as long as they update it to allow the background. And it's like that should have been there before, but what people like part of the reason that's limited to the new hardware is they didn't want to kill battery.
Oh
And
yeah, that
iPads and
lots of people.
iPhones were always kind of about like, okay, it's focused on one app. So this is Apple's way of changing and saying we treat the iPad seriously and we understand now you have all this memory and also fast charging
Hmm.
with the new iPads. And I think that this is also kind of a sign that maybe the next generation iPads will get even faster charging. And perhaps now that we saw that the new MacBook Air has MagSafe,
Oof.
perhaps MagSafe 3.3, the magnetic connector for iPads for charging. Because you know how the Magic Keyboard you can charge that way, but then then you can connect a display and do everything else on the iPad itself. Well, what would be cool is if they added the MagSafe port because then you don't have to have another thing. You can charge and use dongles, adapters, all sorts of things with the iPad while it's charging. Now, yeah, you can still connect your
Savage.
dongle that way, but
Mhm.
I think that some of this stuff is just and the email stuff was there's some email update stuff. There's a lot of background that's exciting for me as far as um, and even for like day-to-day use. So previously, SharePlay supported apps were a little difficult to find. Like you kind of had to
Mhm.
go into the app and then find Share, hit it, and hope that the SharePlay popped up. Now, if you go into FaceTime or iMessage and you hit the little SharePlay icon, it will show in the share sheet all your apps that you have that support it, and
Mhm.
it will also suggest ones if you don't have, or if
Mm.
like other
Can
ones.
I
So
ask
it
you?
makes
Can
it
I ask you something? That sorry to interrupt you. I don't want to be rude. Keep doing that. But I want to question when they said you could share, like watch a movie or stuff like that on your with FaceTime. How is that going to be towards the battery? Because you only got so much amount of battery if you're
Mhm.
watching a 2 hour movie. So I don't know. I'm just
so
asking.
So on an iPhone, obviously, or an iPad, your battery is going to be based on, especially if you were trying that on like an iPhone mini, you're going to be, wrecking because you're not only playing back, but then you're streaming it. Now, FaceTime is pretty efficient compared to like I've been on pretty long FaceTime. Well, you and I have been on long FaceTime
Oh yeah, that's
before
true.
where it doesn't tend to kill as much battery as like being on here or like a Zoom call. Their efficiency on it seems to be a little bit but I feel like they're finally focusing on using it on a Mac and showing some of the things that way, or like plugging your iPhone in while you're at the gym, and if you're, if the equipment supports it, doing the exercises with somebody that way. I think the idea that like now that gyms are kind of opening back up, let's say let's say Lewis, you're like, you know what, I want to lose some weight. Will you and you know, will you exercise with me or whatever? I could go to the gym. You could be at the gym or you know, we're states away, hours away,
Hmm.
and I could hop on the treadmill. You could hop on the treadmill if they support, you know, some of the exercise, and we could do the same run or same walk or same exercises together, not having to be in the same room. I think that eventually we're going to see people that will use FaceTime and some of this stuff as a business method.
Oh yeah,
Because
I was good
I
because
could offer, you know, Apple has it where you can pay for their training,
hmm
but I could see physical trainers offering
correct.
their
That's what I was
own
going
thing, like, hey, you know what, Apple has theirs, but you know what, I live near such and such gym that's regional, you know, nationally available, and so you can go to your gym and I can go there and I will train you using the equipment specific to that, and that could be awesome. My wife had a meeting with a doctor today on Zoom on a Zoom call, so there's all sorts of stuff that's being done already like this. But I just think that the significance of some of this is cool. Realistically, right now, what's kind of neat with this is if I had a lav mic like your Rode mic,
hmm
I could have, I could potentially have, like, let's say I had a Mac Mini or Mac Studio or even just my
hmm
MacBook hooked up. I could have that. I could grab an iPad and have like a magic. So I could actually just take this setup like I have right now. But if I wanted to have really good video that's better than what you're going to get out of like the front-facing camera on an iPad, I could technically take my iPhone and mount it to the side of an iPad and then go in the other room and actually have everything routing through the power of a Mac and take my iPad and and have my iPhone as the camera because it can do it wirelessly to my Mac.
hmm
Grab my iPad and go in the other room with it and still have that option. I could see people even in your car. You want to be able to do some of the streaming stuff. I could see somebody mounting a Mac Mini in their car and then connecting their phone to use it as a camera and doing some of this. The other thing is even for non-live streaming. So let's say you want to use the camera from your phone. Yeah, it's as far as I know, like I have to look in to see if it supports higher than 1080p. If it supports up to like 4K 30, that would be pretty cool. And obviously, some of the camera features are going to be. But I could see potentially like mounting up and using this and having, and then doing capturing on the computer side itself. So now with this, instead of doing what I do where I've been using my regular camera or I record with my iPhone and then airdrop it over to my computer, technically if this quality is good enough for me, I can have this exact setup like I do right now and just go in to Melon app and instead of doing stream, do the record and record it, and then it's not storing any of it on my phone, it's storing it on my computer and do all this. These are
Oh
things that
yes.
like more than like the webcam stuff we're getting, you
Mhm.
know, into the advanced, but like teachers, right? They know this is features that it kind of would have been nice if this was out before now, because you had people that were buying cheap webcams or like they were using some of the apps, but if you don't have that great of internet connection, it might not be that great. Now this is using, I think, the same protocol as like AirDrop and AirPlay and all that uses because it
Yeah,
seems to be really
I
low
think
latency. I was using it earlier today. I have a um, 27-inch 1440p LG Ergo monitor, and I just have that. I have a stand, and I have a mount for my phone here, and I was using it with FaceTime with my dad earlier today, and I was just using the microphones from my phone, and it was isolating my voice pretty well. I had the fan blowing, my son's talking. Like, I feel like unfortunately, like it would have been nice if we would have had some of these features like 2 years ago, but
yeah, but I mean we have it now, so we
to
can't go
see it
back.
built to see it built in is interesting to me. The thing you referenced earlier, the whole like collaboration feature is similar to was it Microsoft with their Surface line? They had a
Hmm.
thing that was called like Whiteboard where you could do a
Correct.
similar thing, and then what's the people are going to get on me for this, but I just don't like the layout. I've always thought it's confusing, but technically, T after his live streams, everybody goes over Discord. People have like
Oh, yeah.
Discord, and you can do like culmination stuff. It reminded me of a lot of that, but pretty cool. The ability to, whether you're on like a MacBook or an iPhone, or pull out like an iPad and an Apple Pencil and like sketch out ideas and come in with like a group of people through FaceTime and stuff. And I think that the now that there's, because you have FaceTime links, which was announced last year,
Correct.
the ability to do that means that I'm assuming that it doesn't matter. You could have people coming in, and I don't know if they can contribute to it still, or how that works. Like, if you're not on a Mac, if they'll be able to
But
do that
remember,
through
all
that.
this,
But
if you be honestly, all this came because of COVID. So they stop people working in their house. So that's why they try to change. Oh, let me cater to that audience and part of people because more people working from their home. Let me read this comment.
everybody knows how much I like whiteboards, dry erase. I thought that. I'm sorry, I read it for you.
That's fine. It's no worry. We're a team. It's fine. Yeah, it's funny. He's always making jokes. But no, but seriously, I like the direction they're heading because they thinking now also as just a regular. Say, for example, like, okay, I'm working, I got a break, I'm a student, and then I'm taking a test, but my friend's helping me. There's a lot of stuff and beneficial, not only from a perspective of a student, from a business aspect, you can bring people to work on your team. So there's a lot of stuff you could do, and you don't have to be physically. I mean, I love technology. I love today's world. I'm just happy that I get to see all this and the evolution.
Interesting. So
Yeah,
the studio light essentially just dims like the background and then brightens me.
correct.
So that's pretty cool. I'm just gonna leave that on. I think that's pretty cool. The
Yeah.
portrait is not. I mean, obviously it's hit or miss.
Mm,
I think most of the portrait stuff is like. What's crazy to me is like that in the center stage. When
mhm,
Juan Bagnell and TK Bay do the best of our week thing,
mhm,
and how he uses the NVIDIA software that does the tracking and all that. So now people have that without, like, it's built. Yeah, obviously you have to, like, I have to own an iPhone and a Mac for that, but in particular ones. But the thing is, like, yeah, but it's like if you already own it, it's not like go out and buy it. I wouldn't tell somebody to go out and buy, a $600 or $700 Mac Mini and then buy like a 12 or 12 Pro Max just to do some of this stuff. But if you already have it, the fact that it's added into there is pretty cool, and it seems to be pretty reasonable. And it's not blowing out my lights in the background here, which, I mean, they're
yeah, I
not
know.
that bright, but
And some people have tasted the iPhone and they went to Android, and they know who I'm talking about. You see what you're missing, but I'll leave it like that. You took a bite of the apple, but you didn't like it, so you went the other way. I'm just messing with that person.
I
He
I
knows who he's talking about.
the downside is like, I mean, I guess it happens this way too, because there are some of these webcam apps that are only on the Android side, and then there's like Epoch Cam that only works
Mhm,
if you have an iPhone. So there are apps like that already, and then there are some that like some services that only work if you have a Mac. There are some that work only if you have like XSplit. Some of the X like yeah, they've updated for Mac, but it works better on like Windows side. So there's
mhm.
always these things out there, and yeah, it's nothing really new, but like putting that in and knowing that day one, when like 1 billion iPhone users or whatever install iOS 16, because they iOS users tend to update pretty quick when it becomes official, that they'll all have access to these things, and a lot more people are buying Macs and stuff, and it could be something that just gives another. And it is kind of annoying because it's one of those things that, like, really, if I own just a Mac or I own just an iPad or just an iPhone, there are a lot of these features that aren't necessarily as handy, but owning all of them, you get those advantages. But I think that's true with every company.
Yeah, it's company because I mean, this is common sense, but I'm gonna throw out there is either goes with companies or content creator. What is you doing? Giving value to your audience. Without your audience, there's no company or there's no you. So, I'm glad that Apple is always because some companies are like me. Like I like. Don't get me wrong. Samsung is a great company, not to deviate from the conversation, but they throw everything in the kitchen sink, and tell me how many of those useful features you're gonna use. There's too many. You won't find all of them. So, but it's crazy. Go ahead, Michael.
So I actually am going to look up the details on the because on the as far as the M2 chip, I feel like they kind of went past it fast. So I'm
Yeah,
actually looking up
don't forget
something
the
real
comment.
quick. Um, so I'm gonna go through this real quick. So M1, so M1 was 8 GPU core, 8 CPU core.
Uh-huh.
Obviously, we know that they had one that uh that they had the base model MacBook Air that had one core disabled. Um, M2 um so here's what I'm seeing. Um, ProRes encode and decode, which was typically previously um, like that was more of a M1 Pro and M1 Max and M1 Ultra specific thing. 6K external display. I can't remember if that was there with M1. I think it was. Um, so 8 core CPU, 10 core GPU. So additional cores on the GPU. Also, um, goes up to 24 gigs of memory instead of 16. They're saying that the M2 will have 18% faster CPU, 30% faster GPU, 50% more bandwidth, 40% faster neural engine than the M1. I'm just reading from How to Geek, so I'll give them credit if somebody wants to go over there and check it out.
Yeah, correct.
Um, Neural cores are 16, which is same. So it's essentially a boosted version of the M1, which makes
Correct.
sense.
That's what I gather.
So you're not going to necessarily get more core. It's kind of like generations of Intel, right? Quite often it was like the next generation was still an 8 core 16 thread like for your base, so you're going to have the similar thing, but it's you're going to have there you're looking at going to like higher clock speeds, better efficiency. The fact that the battery life maintains with a slightly larger display and with the more power processing and graphics is in there. So in a nutshell, it's essentially kind of like how we go in A series and devices, or I would say comparative to if people remember going from an A12X to the A12Z with the iPad, where it was like in the
Oh yeah.
same kind of similar generation. It's like next generation, but it's based off from a similar architecture, and it's just a jump up in speeds. That's what it really is. I would say like ultimately it's for the people that you don't need like 10 core and 10 core was it 10 core CPU, 14 core GPU like my M1 Pro MacBook Pro 14 inches. You don't do like you need a little bit more performance and also maybe you do some ProRes stuff. So
Uh-huh.
this M1 Air will be able to handle that. Now, obviously, if you're going to do extensive stuff, just like with the previous models, if you're doing stuff beyond like 15 minutes, so you're doing like half an hour clips, and you're doing multi-layer stuff, then you're going to want to get the M1, the 13-inch
Correct.
Pro minimally. Now, once you get to what I need to look at, and actually, I'm going to go to Apple's site real quick.
Yeah. But I was thinking why they got the 13. They still have it. I was like in shock.
So they also took the previous 13-inch model, the M1 models, and they basically they took $100 off from them.
Oh yeah, that's
So
true. It's more affordable.
uh, and the other thing is you don't get they kept the 720p camera from what I can tell on the on there. Um,
Oh, that part I knew. I didn't research that part.
Oh, so the touch bar is still there with the new MacBook Pros, it looks like.
It's still there? Wow.
Wait a minute. I'm confused. M2, cooling system, Face ID, HD camera. What is 10? Yeah, 8 core CPU, 10 core GPU, 4K, 8K ProRes, up to 24 gigs of unified
Oh,
memory. So like I said, it's a more beefier M1. 100
yeah, that's
gigabit per second of memory bandwidth, where the previous was like 60. So you're getting, or like, yeah, 65 or whatever. So you're getting 50% higher. Um,
so. So in other words, it's a little slight boosted. That's what I'm gathering from the information.
it's the M1's not quite enough, but an M1 Pro's too powerful, and like you
Hmm.
do video editing, and the M1 maybe hangs up on you, and you do some photo editing and that type of thing, and so you go to an M2, um, and that's kind of the
Oh yeah.
if you need a brighter display because you're working and you need then you're working in like HDR and you need and you want mini see that's where I think it will be interesting to see is I'm actually going to look at pricing real quick because I need to look at something. I'm curious. So
Hey.
the 13-inch
Mhm.
M1 Pro, huh. So that's what's kind of a bummer still. That's going to
Mhm.
be a little bit I think of a problem for some people is that if you compare the 14-inch um, if you are looking at basically the base model on the 13-inch MacBook Pro is 8 gigs of memory, 512 storage. So if you want to match the MacBook Pro 14-inch starts off with double that, and of course you're also looking at 4 more cores on the GPU. So um, the thing is really going to be I'm just going to look at the same amount of memory. So here's going to be the interesting thing. So basically, if you're looking at the 13-inch MacBook Pro with 16 gigs of memory, 512 gigs of storage, that's $16.99. The 14-inch version, where you get where you're getting an additional USB-C slash Thunderbolt 4 port. You're getting HDMI. You're getting the SD card slot. You're getting a mini LED display. It's going to be $300 more. Um, so that's interesting that they kept the stuff in there. So they kept the Pro basically in line with the M1 model from last year as far as like if you lined it up with the 14-inch Pro, the M1 model was 300 it was a $300 price jump if you looked at the same storage as the base model 14-inch MacBook Pro. The 13-inch MacBook Air, which I'm gonna look at real quick here. Mac,
Mhm.
come on.
And
Um,
while you say that, I just want to say I'm not leaving, but I just want to say, if you're part of the replay crew, don't forget to like, do all the stuff. Let's continue. Let's have fun. And I'm going to stay here half an hour more. That's all.
so the M2 Air this year, the reason I think the pricing is a little bit more is you're getting a larger display. Oh, it does have the same 1080p Face ID camera as
All right. I forgot to tell you that.
you're getting MagSafe. You're and you're getting basically the bumped up model of the M1. So with the M1, you have to go to you had to go um, are they do they even have the option in here? I
I
can't
don't
find
know.
it, but they don't even have the bumped up. So with the M1 MacBook Air, they knocked they knocked it down in price, or they're or no, it's still 999. But they don't even have the higher core GPU option. So they kept the 8 core CPU, 7 core GPU, 8 gigs of unified memory, 256 gigs of storage. And then the M2 starts with the same memory and same storage, but it's the 8 and 8. So essentially, you can't get the M1 with the additional core anymore. So that's how they did it. So it's $200 more to. So actually, I remember last year to get the 8 core GPU was $100 more. So you're basically paying $100 more from the M1 equivalent Air. Because last year, in order to get the 8 core CPU, 8 core GPU, 8 gigs of unified memory, 256 storage, was $10.99, and this year it's $11.99. So you're essentially for that $100, you're getting a 13.6-inch True Tone display. You're getting the Touch ID that's in the new Touch ID that's in there. You know, the new keyboard, new color options, and where's the there's more than that in there, because what's the and MagSafe.
Oh yeah, MagSafe.
But
So
one of the other
right.
things
Mhm.
one of the other things real quick I wanted to say though that is significant about, like, if somebody's considering um, where I would still actually consider this would be is it would actually probably be powerful enough for most things I do now, where the M1 was starting to get bogged down. But the really advantageous thing of either the M1 Air or the M2 Air and Pro is the fact that you can get full on, um, like, you can use basically most USB-C chargers that people are going to have around there to charge this and get the full, right? So because their standard is a 30-watt charger, but you can use um, people will have phones that have a 45-watt or 60-watt charge. So you can use those to
Yeah.
charge these and get the full, where, like, with the M1 Pro models, you have to have quite often specialty chargers, unless you're buying like a phone that comes from overseas, that some of these, have 80 and 120 watt. So I think that's where it's still there. And, like, you still get the crazy battery life with it. So you get
Yeah.
crazy good battery life for most everything, but then when you need the performance, it's still there, and you're not losing. Where, like, for example, with my 14-inch MacBook Pro, because of the high refresh rate display, the M1 Pro chip, some of the things, yeah, I still get like crazy good battery life. Typically, I can go a couple days, versus like before I could probably go a week. Um, there are certain things you sacrifice, like weight. The M1 Air is now half an inch thick. Um, some of the
I thought
stuff is really,
thinner.
hmm?
It was thicker, right?
It's it's like 11.3 millimeters or whatever, so it's thinner than before.
Correct.
Um, so really, I guess between the basics is M1 Air. If you want that base computer and you want to be able to increase your memory, increase the memory and storage, but you don't need like the additional GPU core in there, and you're okay with the display, and you're okay with like maybe one of your ports being taken up when you plug this thing into charge, and you're okay with that, you still can get that at a really good price point.
Hmm.
But then once you start, but then if it's one of those, like, you you don't need a ton of storage, and you're just gonna bump up you could bump up the, you know also you can get more storage because you're not paying that $1,199 starting point. You're starting at $999, so the $200 you might have spent to go to that, maybe you put towards bumping your memory up and bumping the storage up in there. But once you start bumping that up on the on any of these, you start approaching sort of like the, well, do I just go with, because the 14-inch MacBook Pro starts with 16 gigs of memory and 512 storage. Um, but the fact that they give options, right, for everybody,
Correct.
no matter like,
Mhm.
and if you don't need all that memory, you can come in there and be like, well, if I need additional storage for photos and stuff, like for what I, for the most part, 8 gigs of memory is actually surprisingly a decent amount with the new architecture stuff that they're doing, even with like some video editing and photo editing and stuff that
Mhm.
I was doing in the past. But like, if you need a lot of storage because you're doing a ton of that, maybe you just buy an external drive and you get like a 2 terabyte high speed drive and you throw it in an enclosure for the $200 or $300 you were looking that you're going to spend up that, and now you have that to
Right.
carry. And if you get another, and if you have an iPad, you can connect it to your iPad, and there's, but the options are there. I just don't, I'm just still confused by the 13-inch Pro, just because once you start adding in memory and storage and bumping up the options, you're basically in line with the the 14-inch as far as price.
Correct. But also, we talk about that, but we forgot some of the areas I want to touch on because I don't want to leave nothing. We haven't talked about Mac OS and the watch. Those two areas we missing.
So
So,
the watch was like the machine learning stuff, was pretty cool, and like the sleep tracking stuff that they're doing, with like REM
uh
phase and all the different phases of it. But the exercise stuff was really cool because they studied the way people's arms move. So I think what's really cool is the idea of like, it understands human movement to enough where all it needs is the watch to know how much that curve of like your hip movement is and your foot hitting the ground, so it can study that, so you can optimize. So like runners try to optimize so that that's more of a flat line, so that you're not coming off the ground like almost jumping. You're more smooth and in line. So as you're running, your steps are further apart, so you're going along faster. So these are things, and even skiing, that this can come into play with. One of the coolest things I thought was out there was, you don't have to have an Apple Watch to do the fitness stuff and like the fitness competition stuff anymore. That they're incorporating that in. So if you have an iPhone, you know, iPhones have been able to do some step tracking and all that for a long time, but now they've improved upon the
mhm.
algorithm for that, and they've made it so that you can compete with other people, and the fitness app is in there. Oh, weather, for I almost forgot, iPad OS weather.
Oh yeah, I said that at the beginning. Oh, and I like the weather animation for the phone. If you thundering and all that for the
But
lock
but
screen.
for the people in the back, no calculator yet. I almost swore. I almost said no effing calculator. I'm like, wait a minute, gotta hold back, Michael. Gotta hold back. No
No, I
calculator
was
yet.
gonna say it too. When you say calculator, I was gonna say the effing word, but I hold it back.
I was like, nope, nope, nope. But I I don't know. I don't know. Oh, one of the cool things I did figure out is, when I plug in my iPhone,
Hmm.
that it goes to like like it automatically goes, oh, we're gonna send video through because you're plugged in. Like
Ooh,
there is no like, well, we're gonna use Wi-Fi either way. The only bummer is like, when I'm using it, obviously I can't use my iPhone, but I I have Telegram, I have Facebook Messenger, and I have iMessage, and I have all that on my computer, so those messages still come through. Oh, here's something before I forget about it
cool.
that I
Go
was
ahead.
really excited about, and I need somebody to dig into the code. Maybe Ed. Yeah, I'm calling you by your government name, Savage. Maybe you can dig into the code, um, or somebody can look into the code. Would be to know, um, if the new push notification stuff for web. Yeah, let's look at what he says real quick before I get in. There is still a Pixel Watch, of course. Yeah, bigger and more efficient. See, the thing with that is, I've been using my Apple Watch, and I've been going to bed at night with it off the charger. I mean, I've been taking it off the charger late in the day sometimes, but like 12 hours later, it will still have like 79% charge on it. And that's including like it's been tracking steps. I've been using it to send messages. I've been asking it
Mhm.
about weather. I've been doing stuff with it. Now I don't have always on display turned on and I don't have the brightness cranked all the way up because that would be two things that would kill it pretty quick. But like I'm using all that other stuff and it's not the cellular model, but I'm pretty sure I can get 2, 3 days out of this again. Now I have the
And
larger
which
Series
model you
7,
have?
the 45 millimeter Series 7, so it's the largest
Yeah, so
one.
people they could know. So
Um,
for me, it's a different story because I have the five. So, but I still get 2 days out of it. That's the most I could get, 2 days.
and I
Go
use
ahead.
Telegram and I use Facebook Messenger to reply, and I do lots of stuff on it, and it still seems to be decent. But what I was gonna say is, so one of the things this is a little on the nerdy side of things is
Nerd
push
alert! Nerd
notifications,
alert!
push
Mhm.
notifications in Safari. So websites will now be able to ask permission to do push notification, which is stuff that's been in like in Chrome and Firefox for a while, but I'm talking about in iOS and iPad OS. So what this leads me to think, and this is something for all of our, um, I gotta listen closely, people, bitextual people, people that carry iPhones and Android. That excites me is so currently you can go in and you can do messages for web from an Android device and you scan a QR code and then all your messages sync over on like on your iPad or your iPhone through your browser and you can create a home screen shortcut of it. But what has me excited with this is essentially if I'm somebody who, let's say, I want to put my main SIM card in my Android device, but I want to get my messages on my iPhone, and maybe sometimes I leave want to be able to leave my Android phone at home and I grab like my iPhone there. What would, what would be amazing to me is I could do messages for web and have it on my iPad or like on my iPhone because I don't have a cellular iPad, but like if you had a cellular iPad, enable do the add to home screen where it creates a web app.
Sorry, the message just started laughing.
So I saw that too. MTT's got the Dick Tracy watch special Tim Cook edition with a graphene battery. No, I just have an electrifying personality and it reverses and charges my watch while I'm using it.
No
It's a
reverse
joke,
charge.
but wouldn't that be funny? Like discover I
Yeah.
have some. But what's exciting to me about this is so if people don't know, it was on a Pixel originally. Now basically all Android devices have it because, well, with the exception of some prepaid carriers and but I think this is separate from RCS. But messages for web, where basically you can go into the Google Messages app. Oh shoot, my phone is right here. So you can go in and you can I'll go into. I don't really have any messages that are a problem. So I have this. If I go up here and I go settings, um, I gotta find it. Anyways, there's messages for web. Where is it? I can't find it.
Yeah.
Anyways, there's a messages for web in there, and essentially what you do is you go to like messages.google.com, and then you scan the QR code on that website with your phone, and then it syncs everything through the web. So all your
What?
messages that come through your Android phone could come
You
over, and it
you
doesn't
ready
matter
for
if
this, phone? I'm sorry. Look at this picture. So crispy coming out of the iPhone, just native. So sorry I put you on the spot, but it looked very nice. I'm very impressed. Let me take you off. Go ahead.
so it doesn't matter like let's say you're a Mac OS user, but you love your Android phone and you love your Galaxy Watch and your Galaxy Tab, but you just hate Windows for some reason. Or you use both, but you want to be able to respond to messages on your Mac or on your iPad or on your iPhone. Like let's say I use both ecosystems. I mean, I have an iPad over there and I have this is a Tab S8 that I got recently. And I have a phone coming in the next week from Vivo. But the idea that it doesn't matter which device. So you use messages for web, you scan the QR code, it pops up. Well, now Safari on iOS and iPadOS will essentially allow you to do that, but also push notifications can come through. So you can use it just like any other app. So let's say you don't want to have Twitter on your phone. You don't want to have Facebook on your phone. You don't want to have Instagram, but you want to be able to check those. And then you decide, you know what, I like the web version of it better than the app, or the app's broken and I'm going to use the web version, but I want to be able to get my push notifications. Essentially, if the website supports it, the API for Safari now has web push notifications. So, what I'm saying is, with messages for web, I could be a pixel carrier, but then set it up with my iPhone and reply from my iPhone, and my push notifications would still go through the iPhone, or an iPad, or a Mac, or whatever. Just the idea that those are incorporated into there is brilliant. And there could be other purposes for that, like somebody could build a messaging service like a Zoom competitor that uses the web.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say you go to their website, and then you have it in the background and you're not paying attention, and all of a sudden it's time for your doctor's appointment and it's a tab open, that they could essentially make it so that it sends the push notification through and goes, hey, Lewis, pay attention, click on me, and
Yeah.
it comes in. Like, that's something you'd of course have to give the site the permission, but like
Mhm.
Android's had that for a bit. On Mac OS, people may notice when you go to certain websites, it'll say, do you want to enable notifications? And if you do that, then when there's like the website pushes something through, it'll pop up. There's
Yeah,
all sorts
and,
of, but being able to do
yeah,
that
yeah,
on,
yeah, that's cool. And also, we forgot the last update because I'm getting off here at 8:30. Um, the CarPlay. I don't know if you. I'm not. I didn't watch that part.
I did, and it's kind of interesting to me because it's the idea of like that these companies like BMW and stuff that have CarPlay support, but also have the extended dashboard where you got the whole like dash is an interface. The Apple's
Mhm.
basically said, we're working with these companies so that CarPlay will be able to read your meter accurately. So the Apple's saying, you know what, we trust this enough, so we're gonna grab your speed, your fuel gauge, or I guess if it's an
Mhm.
EV, your battery charge, all that information, your temperature, all that stuff, and that can come through, and then through CarPlay, you can customize the interface that you want it to output. So that way, the native interface doesn't have to compete with CarPlay, and CarPlay doesn't have to be specified to like a portion of it. So essentially, Apple's CarPlay can take over the whole thing, and then you still have
That's
your stuff
genius,
showing up.
bro. That's smart because Apple say, um, see, now people get enticed. Let me get it. Let me do this because let me get this car because Apple Play is taking over and more data. Because they give me data and stuff. Maybe they'll have like a data like analytics stuff like that in the back end, and you could check stuff. That's good. Apple's being smart. That's
And
a genius. Like,
I know people are going to be like, well, they're just doing it to be able to gather that data. Nope. They already said in there that it's done device side. So then none of that
correct.
information gets sent to Apple unless you have like an issue and you do like report where you can report
Mhm,
the
correct.
error, like an app is crashing and there's something. And Apple is saying, we trust that we've worked with these companies enough that, because that's a huge legal issue. Because if you crash your car or you get like pulled over for speeding and you're like, but I had CarPlay enabled and it said I was only going 70. And they're like, but you were going 90. You could potentially sue Apple and be like, I got pulled over and this is what happened. Um,
True.
it's up to the manufacturer, yes, because the manufacturer also has to say we're trusting Apple and saying like, hey, if something gets messed up, you can't sue us. Like, it's kind of a trade-off. But Apple's saying, you know what, we're not feeding this information out. It's device side, and we trust the relationship we have with these companies enough to have it be private, to have it be secure, and to have it. And it's brilliant because instead of competing, they're working together. It's the same thing with Matter. Instead of competing with all these other companies that are making in-home cameras and plugs and all this stuff, let's work together and not have to make it so that like, well, you got to buy all new stuff. The companies
Yeah,
can
they're
just
being
issue
smart.
an update through the app and be like I have a thing called Tekken, not the game, not the well-known game, but Teckin. They're sold on Amazon and I think in like Walmart and stuff. And then I also have one that's called Mercury, Merkury, which is a Walmart brand bulbs. The the app developer just can push an update and then that can show up in HomeKit. So I could have my camera show up in there. The other thing that allows for the developers is to potentially not even have to make an app.
And you know what I like that Apple being smart because Apple, I mean, that's a brilliant marketing. I'm not gonna compete. I'm gonna work with you. You see, if you compete, then you won't have the same viewers or customers or whatever. So they're being smart. I can't be you. I'm gonna join you, and I'm gonna take away little by little. I like that strategy.
And
It's all
benefit
about
from
marketing.
and Apple tried to do that before with getting Tile to work with them. So this is
Correct.
their way of saying, you know what, now we're involved in um I love this conversation. Many people in smartphone community don't realize the development side of things. Well, they're listening and talking to the wrong people, Savage. Because trust me, I this is something I love every year, and more than the hardware stuff because it's like, yeah, you can upgrade hardware, but what's exciting to me is these features, for the most part, all worked on my like. I don't have to wait for the iPhone 14 to come out. These things, obviously, when the iPhone 14 comes out, there'll be things that are specific to it. But like, they don't go out and say, well, yeah, but you're gonna have to wait for the iPhone 14 for these features to work. They make it work, and it's working on my 13 Pro. Same thing with my Mac. Same. Now my iPad's different because there's some of those features are Apple Silicon M1 model specific. But that's but they're not saying, well, I had to wait for an M2 iPad to come out. I could go buy one of the current available, and it's there. I get that right away. Yeah, you got to download it, and yeah, you got to install the profiles, or you have to be a developer and pay for the thing to do it. But like the crazy stuff to me is this is what I like to talk about, but nobody likes to hear it. That's the hard thing with me, and I'm to the point where I'm kind of giving a verbal middle finger. Like I want to talk about it, so I'm going to talk about it. And if people are going to watch,
No,
people are going to watch.
and that's the reason I brought you because I mean you more qualified than me. You understand these things better than me. I admit it, and we need to hear it. Without those stuff, nothing's gonna work.
And
People don't think about it.
I'll ask the question. Oh, there was one really cool thing that
Hmm.
that is awesome. So I created a custom spatial audio profile today using my iPhone. And this was something that they kind of glanced over and something that was leaked actually. So essentially, it uses the front cameras that are used for the 3D, for Face ID for 3D mapping. And what you do is I held my phone to the side of my face and then I rotate my head forward and backwards. And what it's doing is it's scanning my ear using the 3D sensors. And it's also emitting a sound frequency. And then it makes like a boom sound when it's done. And then I did the left ear. And what it did is it creates a custom profile. So when I enable spatial audio and I have that on, it's specific for my ear shape and size.
Ooh, wow.
You know how much people pay for that stuff? I know Juana's paid for some IEMs where they model your ears.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that
I mean,
makes like a $540 pair of AirPods Max. I think it makes it a little bit more significant when you have custom, like, specific to each ear.
let me read this last comment before I get out of here. I got a huge headache. It's driving me crazy.
Oh, I can touch on gaming real quick. I thought it was cool that they're announcing the I'm my brain just but the game that's going to be coming out later this year that's in the series of
I forgot. I just watched that before. I can't remember.
starts with an
Brain
R.
freeze.
New Mac game.
Yeah, put it.
Um,
Okay,
where is it?
2022.
I can't find it. Where are you? Anyways, the idea that they're using stuff, and basically what it is it's it's upscaling, but it's something that's been around in photography and videography for a while. But they're
Mm-hmm.
using that. It's a Capcom game. Thank you. I'll look it up.
Yeah,
Hold
thank you.
on. Capcom Mac
And that'll be the
game.
last update because my head is about to explode.
Resident Evil.
Correct.
Resident Evil Village is coming to Mac later this year. So one of the things that I thought was interesting that they said was that the game stuff that they talked about was any of the Macs. So that means like an M1 MacBook Air potentially. Now, obviously, resolution wise and some of that and how fluid it is probably better on a higher end one.
Yeah,
But the
I
fact
agree.
that they're saying like so probably on like an M1 MacBook Air with 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs of storage, and like the 7 core um, GPU, I would say 1080p. You know, smooth 1080p high frame rate could be there, but it's a start for AAA gaming, and to get these companies on board is
Uh-huh.
pretty exciting to me. To think that like maybe my M1 Pro MacBook will be able to do 4K gaming at like or like 2K at 120, sport native resolution potentially, and not have. So that's what I will say about that. As far as like AR VR, that's a whole other conversation. If Shameless plug, but obviously I will be talking about more this Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right
Yeah,
before
go ahead. I mean,
Easy
do your
Computer
call.
Solutions stream. Also, um, don't forget that later tonight, I do believe. Let me double check before I make a fool of myself.
Yeah,
About the
double check. I know
time.
who you're talking about. Yes,
Real quick
confirm before I let him
here.
go.
I don't see. He's been going at 9, I do believe, or
Yeah,
9:15, somewhere around.
yeah,
Is technically T's been going live, but let's also not forget tomorrow. Gigi Gadget Goddess at
correct.
8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. She'll be going live, and then of course, like I said, Wednesday at 8, and then followed at 9 o'clock will be Easy Computer Solution. So people be prepared for that stream because it's probably going to be fairly rapid fire because yeah, we covered stuff here, but there's like a lot I didn't get to cover. And when it's just me talking, we all know that I'm going to be firing through the information. There's going to be some thoughts on there about some things where I see they're going with this. I totally called the whole webcam thing though, the native support and some of the stuff, but where I see that taking us and giving us some ideas of where they're going with hardware for the next iPhones and iPads, and it's going to be fun. But it's going to be a lot of information. It's going to be me going. But that I just hope that people appreciate some of the stuff because yeah, there's gonna be other people that talk about it, and I know that Easy's gonna talk about it a bit, and there's a lot of people that are already complaining like, but they didn't bring this and they didn't bring that. It's like, yeah, but we don't know yet because these betas that we're seeing and what they showed isn't really the full fledged. It never really is. Like when we saw Universal Control when it finally came out, it's a little bit different. Anyways, thank you, Tech for Your Needs, for having
Yeah,
me on. Of course, thank you to the everybody watching. People don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Also, people don't forget hashtag replay crew.
correct.
Follow Lewis, Tech for Your Needs. It's right there. Follow me. People, subscribe if you're new to his channel. And
Let's
I'll
go.
leave it to you, Lewis.
Yeah, let's go before the year. I'm saying it in every live stream. I'm gonna hit 1K. I'm working on doing videos plus this live stream. And also, you can find me at Clubhouse on Fridays. I got a room for content creation. With that said, don't forget to tune in, same time, same channel. I'll see you all around. Peace and love. I'm out, folks. Bye.